What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, and thanks for joining us for the news this evening. Taiwan is racing to seal a trade deal with the U.S. to lower its 20% tariff. But that strategy is sparking controversy at home. Opposition lawmakers warn that the government's new plan to share manufacturing expertise with Washington could endanger the country's tech dominance. Chris Gorn reports from the legislature.
Taiwan cabinet officials say U.S.-Taiwan trade talks are in their final stages and revealed a so-called Taiwan model of U.S. investments as a bargaining chip. They revealed the concept here in the legislature while taking comments from lawmakers. Officials also reiterated Taiwan's four main goals in the trade talks, and those are lowering Taiwan's reciprocal tariff from its current 20%, preventing the stacking of any additional tariffs on top of that 20%, avoiding special tariffs on chips known as Section 232, and gaining favorable investment conditions, especially avoiding being taxed in both countries. And in return, they're offering the so-called Taiwan model of investment. They describe that as being private sector-led investment rather than government-led investment like Japan and South Korea have recently done, the creation of one-stop industrial clusters in the U.S., similar to Taiwan's science parks, workforce training for U.S. chip workers, and government support, including credit guarantees and financial assistance to Taiwanese companies in the U.S. There was some pushback from opposition lawmakers to the plan, especially the workforce training. Some worried that this could cause a kind of technology drain and damage Taiwan's lead in semiconductors.
8委员不会，因为最先进的技术还是会在台湾。好，所以
你一直讲最先进技术没错，但是我们在训练美国的劳工的时候，这个技术，这整个工业的技术就会有这个缺口，有这个危险性啊，这个风险会产生的。
它是一个 operator 的这个技能啊，它不是研发单位了。
所以这个还要防范这个风险，好不好？是，这是我们国人所担心的。
是。
Officials also denied rumors that Taiwan would pledge $400 billion in investment as part of the deal, but didn't give any concrete numbers as to how much they would be willing to invest. But with the final terms of the deal still under wraps, anxiety over the future of Taiwan's most important industry remains high. Joseph Wu, Chris Ma, and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Defense officials are unveiling plans for special units like intelligence personnel, missile experts, and drone operators to get more pay. As our reporter Larry Isiano explains, it's part of efforts to increase military preparedness in the face of rising threats from China.
Frontline units, drone operators, and specialized personnel are set for major pay boosts this year, with some allowances jumping as much as 140%, the Defense Ministry says. The move aims to attract recruits, keep skilled staff, and strengthen Taiwan's readiness for a potential conflict.
我们这些相关的加急都是在我们整体的规划项目之一，主要就是我们要考量到每一个任务的性质、繁重的程度，以及艰难性还有专业性等等。
In November, the Defense Ministry revealed that while they were able to recruit more people than expected this year, they're still operating at only 80% of their full capacity, a gap the Defense Ministry hopes to fill with these pay raises. But the military is still growing. Last Thursday, President Lai Ching-te announced nearly $40 billion in funding for a new air defense system, precision munitions, fighter jets, and more, all of which need personnel to operate. As the Defense Ministry focuses more on advanced, complex weapons, keeping skilled personnel is becoming increasingly important. Currently, more than half of military staff receive frontline combat allowances, and the ministry plans to extend these to newer units like drone operators.
比如无人机，那就涉及到说战斗部队的以及的定义。那如果符合战斗部队的定义的，我们都会争取把它纳入战斗部队，然后领取战斗部队假期。
Personnel in counterintelligence, air defense, cyber warfare, and maritime and aviation roles will also see more benefits. All of this comes as China keeps up pressure on Taiwan. The Mainland Affairs Council says 5 new sites have been built along China's eastern coast, including Air Force bases, naval facilities, and fuel storage depots, all facing Taiwan.
从上海的浦东到浙江的乐清湾以及漳浦直升机，这3个军事基地都在扩建，可以直接驻扎它的海军陆战队或者是空降兵，威胁台湾以及澎湖。
There could be further increases in military pay. This latest report does not include the doubled volunteer allowance that opposition lawmakers approved in June. With a shrinking population, the Defense Ministry is putting more energy into making military service attractive, and its latest reports show it's willing to invest heavily to do so. Ryan Wu and Larry Ciano for TaiwanPlus.
The first of the long-awaited F-16V fighter jets that Taiwan bought from the U.S. are scheduled to undergo test flights this month. Washington agreed to sell 66 of the planes to Taipei for $8 billion in 2019, originally scheduled to all arrive in the country by the end of next year. Although that deadline is unlikely, military officials say 54 of them are currently in production. The manufacturer, Lockheed Martin, previously said that it was working hard to speed up the delayed deliveries. Thousands of demonstrators have taken to the streets in Manila to protest an ongoing corruption scandal. For months, allegations that lawmakers siphoned off money meant for flood prevention have led to mounting anger in the disaster-prone country. And on Sunday, that anger boiled over. John Van Trieste reports.
Police barricades go up in the Philippines. But the barbed wire cordon can't contain protesters' rage at the country's political elite. For months, there have been allegations politicians, officials, and construction firms pocketed tens of millions of US dollars meant for flood prevention projects. And in the Philippines, flood prevention is serious business. It's not even a month since the latest in a string of powerful typhoons left whole towns underwater. While there's more than one protest Sunday, their goals are the same. They all want the money returned and those involved in the corruption jailed. And there have been some arrests. But despite government promises that, quote, big fish are coming soon, some here think higher-ups involved in the corruption are protected. One citing figures given by a former justice minister.
It's been 5 months since the flood control scam erupted, and no high official has been jailed yet. According to what Ombudsman Ramula said, at least 10% of Congress is involved in the anomalies in the flood control projects. A case has been filed and a warrant issued for only one person. The senators and congressmen involved have still not been jailed.
There's even suspicion that corruption goes all the way to the top.
In particular, we are demanding that the investigations into the issues of corruption be expanded to include not just the lower rank public officials, but from the bottom to the top, up until the President of the Philippines himself, Ferdinand Marcos, who we think has a big role in this systemic and widespread corruption in the country.
The roughly 17,000 police in place outnumbered the protesters, but the turnout was broad, from left-wing groups to rosary-wielding Catholic parishioners and their priests, a reflection of widespread anger that doesn't look to be waning soon. Dolphine Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
What's it like to be a foreigner with HIV in Taiwan? For some, the burden is heavy. And while the government has worked to reduce HIV cases and get foreign residents who test positive on medication to control the virus, the high cost of treatment has only added to their difficulties. Irene Lin has more.
Peeling off common myths and fears around HIV and AIDS. On this year's World AIDS Day, Taiwan Centers for Disease Control hosted an event to raise awareness of medical treatment and prevention and embrace those who live with it. Drag queens also came to support members of Taiwan's LGBTQ+ community who are HIV positive. Many find it hard to break the news to their friends and family, as they struggle with the virus and social stigma tied to their sexuality. But there's a group of people who face an added layer of hardship: foreign residents who've contracted HIV in Taiwan. Sharing his story by video call is Chong Kun-khum. Originally from Malaysia, he's lived in Taiwan for over a decade. He tested positive for HIV in 2023 and recalls how his life changed overnight.
我有一个很好的朋友，当他知道我是感染者身份的时候，他把我们的碗筷分开， 然后我们洗澡，他会用那个消毒水来喷射。我发现我处理的不只是艾滋的关系，我要处理的是人际的关系，我要处理我的身份的关系，我要处理的是自我认同的关系。
Zhuang is one of many foreign residents with HIV eligible for national health insurance, but that only kicks in to cover expensive medications 2 years after diagnosis and treatment. And there are other restrictions for insurance coverage. One must be employed in legal work, have valid residency after 6 months of living here, and have notified health authorities about their diagnosis. Many have no choice but to seek care back home. They risk judgment over their positive status, and for some, their queer identity from family and society.
外籍感染者在台湾真的是介于生存跟流离之间，就是你的药费、你的身份、你的健保、你的法律，每个环节都让你觉得你不是这里的人。我有些朋友他们是马来西亚人，然后他们感染过后，他们没有办法支付这庞大的费用，所以他们被迫回马来西亚。然后家人问他，被迫告知就是感染艾滋，同时同志身份也被出柜了。
Regardless of status and identity, foreign residents with HIV or AIDS have to carry this heavy burden if they don't have stable and sufficient income in Taiwan. NGO Taiwan Lord Association is one of few groups helping those who can't afford the medication by buying cheaper generic brands.
那原厂药就会价格比较高，有的时候跟学名药相差可能会相差到10倍、15倍这样子的价差。如果说一个外籍朋友他的经济条件不够的话，叫他自费去买这些药，比如说每个月要13000、14000，他可能没有办法负担。
Taiwan CDC says it hears these demands and will consider expanding insurance coverage to help more vulnerable individuals among foreign residents.
我们在持续来研议说，是不是针对一些这个像比如说青少年、儿童，或者是说这个有永久居留的这些外籍感染者，能够有足够的这个财源经费来挹注他们未来在前2年当中的一些这个感染者治疗的一些费用。那目前会在朝这个方向在进行一些经费跟可行性的一些评估，然后。
While the government and NGOs work to better inform the public about HIV and AIDS, they may also hope for a future where no one is left behind. Klein Wang and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Travelers at Taiwan's largest airport were excited to be among the first to take off from the newly opened Terminal 3 concourse.
很幸运，然后看到新的登机口，觉得超级兴奋。我觉得很漂亮，然后很宽敞，然后会让人家觉得台湾又更美了这样。
现在变很宽敞，进来蛮舒服的。因为之前旧航厦，我觉得天花板太低，会觉得很压迫。
968 passengers boarded flights from Terminal 3 at Taoyuan International Airport as it began trial operations on Monday. China Airlines, Starlux, and EVA Air each had one trial flight. The facility features a bold orange-red design and 13-meter-high ceilings and stretches more than 700 meters. However, its main entrance is not yet open, meaning passengers must enter through Terminal 2.
虽然今天从第2航厦进来有点远，但我相信之后第3航厦那个大门启用之后，应该就会更方便一点。
The new terminal is set to handle almost 6 million more passengers annually when it opens in 2027. And thanks again for watching What's Up Taiwan. Follow us on social media to get updates from us in your feed. Finally, we take you to Prague's Christmas market for a taste of the festive spirit. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
Wow, this is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?